in the Valley of the Super K.
WKAP, Allentown.
From WKAP, I'm Ed Fiedler, and tonight's topic, believe it or not, if we can keep a straight face all evening here, is Lehigh Valley Hits, which in itself sounds like an interesting topic. And our guest tonight, as well as our expert, and the man who's going to spin some discs for us tonight, and you can call in and talk with him later on when we get ourselves shifted around 4,000 feet on the other side of the building, is Roddy Wolf, who is a disc jockey of long standing, and who also is the proprietor of Rock and Roll Heaven in Bethlehem on Broad Street. Little plug there. And before we get into talking to Roddy, who is now on the floor, forecast calls for becoming partly cloudy tonight, with a low of 48, variably cloudy, with a 70% chance of showers likely tomorrow, high 75. And there's only a 30% chance of showers tomorrow night, with a low of 48. And then a nice day on Tuesday, sunny part of the time, the high is 70. Right now it's 50 degrees. Well, Roddy, welcome.
Hi, Ed.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Fine.
Good.
What have you got for us tonight?
We will be playing records that were regional hits.
Regional hits, in what you mean?
Regional meaning the groups were from this region. Yay! And, no, actually, what we'll have to do is put a disclaimer in here and there. There have been hundreds and hundreds of popular groups in the Lehigh Valley over the years. But we are going to be going back to basically the 60s, when local radio stations played records by local groups. And this doesn't happen today. It's not the nature of top 40 radio of 1970 to current. Do you know what I mean? Did you understand any of this?
I think so. The hype just isn't there.
That's what I mean. That's right. You no longer.
You got to be national to make it.
That's right. They watch the charts much closer in the last few years.
In fact, most of them have myopia because.
Yeah. So we'll be playing records by groups that had their records played locally, okay? So if you were in a group in 1968 and had a record out, but didn't hear it on the radio and you didn't sell any, chances are you won't hear it tonight. How's that?
Wow.
A lot of people over the last couple of weeks when they heard we were going to do this show, and they say, hey, I got a record, you know, but...
Whipped it out from underneath their raincoat, right?
But we're going to try and keep to things that were regional hits, and perhaps the people will remember them. All right?
Beautiful.
And I think the only way to do this is to start out alphabetically. I don't think that's fair, because with a last name like Wolf, I know what it's like to be in the back of everything, you know. End of the line, back of the class. But what we'll start with is a group called Angie and the Citations. This is a group that existed about 1963, 64, 65. Angie and the Citations were from Tamaqua, Pennsylvania, and the lead singer was Angie Bokiko, and other members of the group, Kenny Hoffman, Joe Slivka, Jimmy Turry, and Mike Rollhall. Now, this particular record we're going to play is produced by a former disc jockey in the Lehigh Valley by the name of Jay Edwards. And there's some interesting stories about him, too, but we can't go into that.
Libel suits are out of my budget here, yes?
But no, actually, Jeff Dean, who, of course, is still here at WKAP, and a good friend of mine, I believe.
My.
Jeff Dean.
WKAP.
Jeff Dean and Jay Edwards, many, many moons ago, used to do record hops up in the Lehigh and Palmerton area. And actually what happened was Jay Edwards met a group called Angie and the Citations at one of these record hops in Palmerton, and they picked out a song that Jay had heard on a record album, and they cut this record, and the interesting part of the story is the sax player had a bad reed in his sax. Now, it's true. And, you know, you're on a limited budget. You got $39.
I know what it's like, that bad sax.
Oh, no. And you're on limited time, and they had a bad reed, and they decided, well, they'll go ahead and they'll cut this thing. So if you listen closely to the saxophone on this record, you will occasionally hear these saxophones bad reed. This was a record in 1964, Eddie, and this was a hit locally. This sold
I certainly hope so.
Well over 2,000 copies. Here's Angie and the Citations.
Dance her by me one more time. That girl you're with used to be mine. I look away when you go by. lost the one you love. She's still the girl that I dream of. So for a fool and was so blind, please answer by me one more time.
Roddy Wolf, WKAP.
This is the sound of time.
That was Angie and the Citations, and that was a big regional hit back in 1964. A couple of the members are still around. Angie, by the way, Angie Bokiko, who was the lead singer, now has a group called Angie. It's a 5-piece band, and they play up around the Tamaqua area. In fact, once in a while they even play Allentown. They've been at Helmets. This group was very popular, and in fact, they played a couple of concerts in the same bill with the Beach Boys. Whoa. In 1964, Angie and the Citations were at Ag Hall with the Beach Boys, and they also played with them at Lakewood, New Jersey in the ballroom. So, and then they changed their name to Angie and the Strangers, and you know what happens to local groups, they just kind of disappeared. So that's kind of an interesting record. I like that one.
I noticed it. Put it back in its little sleeve there.
Put it in its sleeve.
I have to watch I don't spill my RC on my records.
Yes.
Okay.
Roddy Wolf here from Rock and Roll Heaven in Bethlehem. Plug here.
Could you give me a longer plug?
It's located on Broad Street.
That's better. 68, as a matter of fact. So,
East Broad.
It's by Sears.
Here, we'll be back in just a little bit. If you'd like to join the discussion tonight on local groups, the number is 433-3166, and we'll be more than happy to put you on the air. But first, we have a word from our sponsor.
Rock and Roll Heaven is open at 68 East Broad Street, Bethlehem, and it's the Lehigh Valley's first oldies but goodies record store. If we don't have it, we'll get it for you. It's the hits of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Thousands of oldies but goodies at Rock and Roll Heaven. Check out our collector's wall. There's never been anything like it before in the Valley. We're open Monday through Friday, 11 to 5, and Saturday, 10 to 5. Phone 867-3621. Rock and Roll Heaven, 68 East Broad Street, Bethlehem.
In the Valley of the Super K.
WKAP, Lehigh Valley.